Picture this. You're sitting at your favorite cafe with your best friend, and she's filling you in on what happened this weekend. You've heard the story a million times before. It's always the same pattern. Her partner will say something rude or inconsiderate, and then they'll end up arguing, obviously. And he'll somehow turn it back on her, and they'll apologize and make up, just to do it all over again. And every single time, you're left wondering, is this it? Is this finally when she decides that enough is enough? And then you find out a week later that it's not over, they're still together. And you're just left there frustrated, wanting to scream, why? Don't you see it? Don't you see that what this is doing to you? Whether it be a toxic relationship, or maybe it's a toxic work environment that you've been at since you were 16 with a really mean boss. Or maybe it's a friend that leaves you feeling drained or unhappy all the time. We've all likely been in situations where we find it really hard to leave, even though we know that maybe it's not what's best for us. Or maybe you know someone that has. When it comes to these situations, there's always so much that goes into it. There's a lot of factors, but sometimes there are these traps that keep us stuck. So let's get into it. Your friend tells you that she's been with this guy for 5 whole years. And even though the past 3 have been kind of rocky, she's been with him for so long, she's invested so much money into him, and they've been on 3 family vacations together. And they've spent so much time trying to fix all their fights that giving up now would just be throwing away all that progress. It doesn't make any sense. This is known as the sunk cost fallacy, which is when we continue with an endeavor because we've already invested so much into it. A study looked at this and found that individuals were more likely to stay in an unhappy, unhealthy situation and relationship because they've already spent so much money and effort. And they looked more into the time aspect and found that the longer that an individual has been in a relationship, the more days they're willing to invest, even though they know that they're unhappy. There's also the idea with toxic situations that there's inconsistent rewards, and these keep us hooked. So let's say your partner forgets your birthday, and you're really sad about that. But then he gets you flowers, and you're happy again. And then you guys fight, and he doesn't talk to you for 2 whole weeks. But then you go on this fancy dinner date, and everything's okay again. All these good moments can be seen as rewards, and from instrumental conditioning, we know that rewards lead to an increase in behavior, which in this case, it's you staying in that relationship. When the rewards are inconsistent and unpredictable, this is known as a variable reinforcement schedule. And because you're always sitting there waiting for the next good moment to come, you're willing to put up with more of the bad moments. You never know when the good moment is coming. There's also the idea that when our beliefs don't match up with our actions, we feel internally uncomfortable. And this is known as cognitive dissonance. So if you believe that I would never be in a toxic relationship, are you kidding? I know better than that. But your actions say otherwise, you might feel this discomfort. And to fix this, you might end up justifying to yourself and your friends, guys, it's not that bad, I promise. It's gonna get better, I just have to be more patient. And by doing so, you might be resolving that internal conflict, but you're not actually fixing anything, you're just covering it up. Finally, we have the idea that when we're facing a new event, whether it be positive or negative, we try to estimate and predict how we're going to feel in the future. This is known as effective forecasting. And studies have found that we're really bad at doing this. People tend to completely overestimate how long they're going to be unhappy for and just how unhappy they're going to be. Turns out in reality, you're not going to be sad about this forever. You will eventually get over them, but this fear will keep you stuck. So, next time you're sitting there wondering, why won't they just leave? Remind yourself that there's so many different things that go into it. These factors include sunk cost, cognitive dissonance, unpredictable rewards, and effective forecasting, just to name a few. And now that you know this, hopefully you can use this knowledge to better understand your peer situations, to be more compassionate, and to be more patient, whether it comes to others or yourself. And hopefully you can go from being the frustrated friend that just wants to scream to a supportive one that is able to help their peers get through tough circumstances. Remember, leaving isn't just about walking away from something that's bad, it's about making the space to walk towards something better. Thank you.